Good evening or good morning, whenever you're hearing this. This is the track breakdown for What Else Will You Do, the current single for Poison the Rats' debut album, Cult Incantations. So I thought I'd create a bit more content around this song and the subsequent singles that will come along. And I want to start with the original idea, which basically is this little thing in here. So that's quite literally all I had in there with me. And then what happens next is that I map out and I effectively write the song as I write drums in this way. These are MIDI drums, and I use a score editor to go line by line by line to create everything. Now, as I'm doing this, I normally hold an acoustic guitar with me just to sort of go, all right, here's the idea, this is what I want to do, and just kind of play along to it and kind of write the section. So as you heard initially, had that little arpeggio thing that I made into the chords for the chorus. I made a version for it for the instrumental bits in between verses and so on, and the outro. And yeah, that's kind of how it got written. Now, one thing you'll notice is that as I envision the song out, I envision a very sort of long intro to sort of announce the thing, as this is the first track of the record, and it went off like that. Now, straight after that, I created a little bass track over here, and I basically record and write at the same time, or learn it, I should say, because I already have the idea, but I've not played it fully fleshed out by myself beforehand. So this is what the bass and drums just sound like. And essentially, that's how it kind of goes all the way through, just to have that basic rhythm section behind it. Then what I proceed to do is create these tracks. So guitar right, guitar left. Now, both tracks effectively play the same thing. And what I then do is create an auxiliary track, so both of these things can be rerouted into here. And I add a little compression just to keep the performance consistent. The reason I do this part left and part right is just to cover the complete sonic space in there. It makes it sound very nice and big. So just so, for the sake of listening, so we know how that sounds like. Where are we? Drums, and there we go. And that's how it's meant to sound like. You can hear it pretty much very complete, but nothing is quite complete until this lead bit is dead in the center. And that's kind of how it works. And I now would like to move on to the vocals. So there's 3 tracks in here. 2 of these, so the harmony parts are rerouted the same way as the guitars. Basically, one does a lower sixth and the other one does a higher third, in relation to the root note in the main vocal. And these 2 go again, hard left, hard right, and that's how it goes. Now, the way that I write vocal melodies, if you will, I don't write beforehand. I normally have a set of lyrics once the whole track is completed. And again, one thing I personally don't do is, have that song fleshed out and then record it fleshed out. Is writing as I'm recording. And what matters to me is to get the idea down, not so much it's sounding perfect. But one thing I discovered over the years is that because I don't write melodies beforehand, and I basically try to grab lyrics and make them fit into a song, what was useful now is create 3 vocal tracks that they're not shown here. Like this is the final product. And basically I perform the song 3 times and, see what the song tells me and then just sing to it. What I then do is grab the best bits of each take, and then there's like a master draft take, and that tells me, all right, this is how I want to sing it, but I'm going to sit with it for a little bit, practice to it, and know what I'm going to do, rather, because if you listen to the original draft take, you can hear the hesitation, you can hear that I'm not sure, even if the thing stays afterwards. And then once that's done, I once again do 3 takes, and then pick the best bits of each, and then put it in a big master take. There is no auto-tune, no nothing. Actually, surprisingly, for this song, the only effects I do for any track is really compression, just to keep control of the performance and everything else. And of course a little bit of reverb and flanger on the clean guitar. So how about we listen to how the vocal sounds a little bit more confident.
Rulers are out of touch. Things are hopeless. That's not...
Oh, I forgot to include that. Because again, that comes through the aux track. All things feed through here. If this is not solo, it's not going to go through.
That's not a reason to sit on our hands. What else are we gonna do? What else are we gonna do?
And that's what it sounds like soloed. I'm actually quite impressed myself. Normally, in the past, there's not that many songs with melodies of any, harmonies of any kind. And this time around, we took it to the next step. And the one pleasantly surprising thing I managed to do is most of those harmonies were done in one performance. They were not like the main vocal draft takes, because at that point I know how to sing it. I just need to pitch it slightly differently, and so on. And here, the last place I want to take is the guitar solo. I did not write this thing. This is my cousin who was kind enough to provide his skills, because I mean I can write it, but I just felt I needed a real guitar player to do it. I'm normally a bass player. How about we have it? And the solo is 2 components essentially. First is this sort of reversed bit that makes it sound like it's fading in, and then the guitar solo itself. Let's have a listen muted. So as you can see from the tracks that we have in here, the setup of the song is not that complicated. Effectively, it's meant to sound like a band of 4 people, 2 guitars, 1 bass, drums, 3 vocals, I guess. And the reason why you do a rhythm track, I mean, to go back to what I was saying earlier, rhythm tracks like this, playing the same thing, is just to fill out the sonic space. And then, of course, you'll notice that we have different bits for lead, the solo fade in effect, and then clean. Under normal circumstances, what would happen is, because they play different roles in the song, and they're placed in different places, and they have different effects, it just gives you opportunity to independently EQ things in a certain way or compress them in a certain way. But as shown in here, there's really not much that was done except for the solo bit, the flanger. It's very, very unusual that this has sounded as good as it does without any EQing or anything like that. So I'm very, very pleased with that. That I had to do very, very little for me to be satisfied. And yeah, and also a little bit behind the inspiration as to how I mapped out the song and it came out the way it did. Basically, I combined, on the one hand, I got inspired by the Sex Pistols' Holidays in the Sun, and then on the other hand, the chorus, the way it's set up, it's very reminiscent of the chorus for Anthem Part 3 by Blink-182, and by that I mean is that there's the drums just change the pace of the song. So on the one hand, you hear the smashing. So you'll hear it like this. Like basically, it smashes it, and then it goes into a normal, like Southern California type punk beat.
Worked out, and it was all for nothing. What else are we gonna do? What else are we gonna do?
And yeah, so based off of that progression, I mean, I'm not really sure necessarily what key it is in. I mean, maybe it's in like a key of G, but it's not even major, to be honest with you. It's just a certain descendant sort of thing, you know, a whole step, then half a step, and a whole step again. It's a very bizarre thing to think about, because sometimes to my ears it sounds like I saw on the G, but then once I get to the D chord, it's almost like I'm changing keys completely. It's very, very strange. I mean, just listen to the chorus again. So the first sort of, you know, line is technically in G, and then it goes into D, into the what else were you gonna do? I mean, at least that's how I hear it.
If things don't work out, and it was all for nothing, what else are we gonna do? What else are we gonna do?
I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. I wonder what it sounds like to you, the listener. And most Poison the Rat songs really start like that again. Have some idea, can be as simple as that little intro thing. You know, kind of write the drums, and then with the acoustic guitar, guide it a little bit, then add a bass, do the rhythm tracks, always left and right. Very, very unusual if I don't do that. And then the lead parts, depending on how many bits it needs, whether it's a lead section that is all the way through, or whether it has a separate solo, anything like that, there you go. And then finally, to recap the vocal part, as I write melodies beforehand, all I do is 3 takes of whatever I've got, and even rewrite as I go along, chop it up, create a master draft take, practice it a little bit, and off we go again. And that's why it sounds better. You can honestly hear, for example, this, and compare it to the first song I released by Under Poison the Rat, Get Brexit Done. The vocal performance is just miles different. And quickly, the meaning behind the lyrics is just how the world is in the state that it's in. But, you know, you might as well try and do something about it, because what else are you going to do? Thanks for watching.